What is up, guys? Taiki here, and today I just wanted to follow up on my last week's video and also give updates to the changes in my portfolio as well as my views on the market. So if you like the content, please like and subscribe and leave a comment in the comment section below. Link to the premium Discord is in the description as well. So let's get right into it. None is financial advice because, hey, like in my last video, I got rugged, right? So like, do not take financial advice from me. Yeah, so let's talk about this, right? So like you might be asking yourself like, hey, like, or asking me like what are you doing? Like, I thought you're the humble farmer. Like, that this makes no sense. And I'll talk about that later. But basically, like how I got into this is like I have a friend Warren, who is like an OG in like the financial markets, been in the space like for a long time. He was actually like very early to the Coca-Cola yield farm Ponzi, and he made a bunch of money from that. But no, he DM'd me saying, hey, just bought this shit. Pretty sure it's a rug pull. And I'm like, hey, like if Warren's in, like I'm in, right? Like, like, hey, like if Warren's in, like you have to be in. And then, I got in somewhere here, going to like 2x and then just like go to 0. And then, he was panicking, right? He's like, oh, like I had 80 in this shitcoin, it's worth 20. Like what the hell just happened? This is kind of a meme, right? Because it wasn't actually a rug from like what we know. It was more like an exploit, and they actually like relaunched tokens, and now it's trading at like $11. I sold like somewhere like in this red candle because I just couldn't take it anymore, right? I paper handed because that's what I do, and I got out with like a 10% loss or something. Which is like totally fine, right? And he was like, okay, like it relaunched, shitcoins come and go, but losses are forever. Let's try to be more humble and be less degen. So before I talk about portfolio, so let's talk about like I guess like my thoughts on shitcoining. I personally think shitcoining is okay. I think when it comes to crypto, the hardest thing is to like remain engaged and to stay interested. And I can like make videos about like GMX Ether and like whatever, like multi-month theses, but it's not really exciting. And I also think it helps if you just like have like a degen stack in your portfolio, like maybe like up to 10% of the portfolio, where you keep it liquid, and whenever you see opportunities, like just try it out, right? And that way you have like a pulse in the markets, and there's like also this element of like gambling and like fun and whatnot. My shitcoining this year has been okay actually. And like when I say shitcoining, it's not like Pepe or like these meme coins. I talk about like new launches for like gaming or DeFi or like whatever. Because I think it's gonna go up or something. But generally, right? Generally, general advice, like it's not really worth it, because the one thing that people don't consider with these meme coins is that sure, it can go up a lot, and like it can go down a lot. But the hidden cost is like gas, slippage, MEV, and like all the fees that you're gonna have to pay, and also like taxes, right? Because even if you make money, right, you're gonna pay gas fees, like to do like sign, buy stuff. You might have to pay bridge fees, then you have to pay like whatever tax bracket you're in, and like generally it's like not really worth it. But I guess it's kind of fun. I don't really talk about shitcoining like on this channel because it's kind of weird. But and I focus on like the longer term stuff and like more liquid tokens. But let's kind of talk about that, right? Portfolio updates. So Taiki, this is what I did. I've been a huge fan of tricrypto for a very long time. If you've been following me, I've been like pounding a drum on tricrypto and GLP and why I think it's gonna outperform cash in 2023. And that's basically played out. But as the yields have come down, I figured, hey, like there's some opportunity cost. I love the position, but hey, I'm bullish Ether and GMX, so let's take it out, put it into Ether and GMX. I also bought some PIKA, and then I'm shorting like the DEXes. I'll talk about that later. But like I've been saying this for quite some time. I think tricrypto and GLP are crypto savings accounts. I think they're gonna outperform 1-year CDs or T-bills from today to like 12 months from now. And of course, like if prices go higher, like I can't really say that, but I still generally believe that to be the case. But like keep in mind, right? It's like the crypto savings account. So if I want to deplete my savings account to buy something new, then instead of like selling something else or depositing like more fiat, I feel totally comfortable like taking money from my savings account to buy something I want with it, right? I think that's a good mentality to have. And like these positions have become yield generators, income generators. Like it's printed like I was actually like looking at like how much CRV and CVX I've made from tricrypto on top of the capital gains I've had, and it's like a pretty hefty amount. So you know, it's something that you have to kind of appreciate. And these LP tokens are definitely they're like the type of assets where time in the markets it beats the timing the markets, because for altcoins like timing does matter to some extent, but with these LP tokens, like I don't really care like what the price is. I just like buy, earn fees, and if you look at GLP, the price of GLP, it's higher than what it was in November of 2021, the Pico top, because like the fees have like made up for it. But like the fees have come down, right? Tricrypto on Convex, Arbitrum paying 10%, GLP paying like 9 to 12%. It was like much lower last week, and then like that's one of the reasons I think people like GMX sold off. But I think that's like that was like a buyable dip in my opinion. But I'll talk about that later. I didn't think it would go down this much. I mean, actually, like I kind of like anticipated this with like the lack of volatility. But like when it comes to like buying something like GMX or like any PropTex token, you can't like, or I mean, it's not black and white, right? But like you can't like I don't really think it makes sense to like sell GMX because like fees are like very, very low, right? Like you kind of have to be forward looking and anticipate where fees are going to like be like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now, because like that's like. Because like the markets aren't like dumb. I mean, you can argue that crypto markets are dumb because of meme coins and whatnot. But like when it comes to like the people that actually move markets, right, and like narratives that actually move markets, it's there has to be like some substance behind it. So if you want to like buy bottoms on like DeFi altcoins, for example, then of course the metrics are going to look bad across the board. But you have to anticipate like what is it going to look like multiple months from now. And that's kind of like the argument that I've been making. I think we're near a trough, right? If you think about like the waves, right? I think we're near like a trough in volume and fees. And if that's the case, then like I feel fine. Like this like scaling into GMX right now. I totally understand the argument around Oracle-based PropDexes. I actually had dinner with Jordy Alexander a couple of days ago, and we're both very bullish PropDexes, but he's more bullish the central limit order book versions, and I'm more like I personally like these Oracle based ones. I totally understand like it doesn't really scale that well. Like GMX doesn't really scale that well, but I think that's gonna change with V2. I think that's gonna help. It's gonna lower fees, lower latency and whatnot. And I think there's also this aspect of like these central limit order books. They're infested with VCs, right? Because VCs just like fund them, and then the token maybe like does less well. But like with these Oracle-based ones, it's more community-based, and the fact that it's all on-chain allows for more composability. If you think about like Arbitrum DeFi, basically like the only tokens that's done well is like GMX and like Trader Joe, because they actually like make money. But like there's like little like Ponzi's that go up like pop up here and there, but like ultimately at the end of the day, like they just like build random vaults on top of GMX and GLP, and I think that creates like a liquidity moat for GMX. I'm like totally happy to be wrong, and I'm totally aware of the scenario where GMX never sees all-time highs again. I'm like like it's something I think about every day because I own so much, but I still I mean, a market's a market, right? I mean, if you think you're right and someone's wrong, like you can express your view by buying or selling something. And right now, like I'm just scaling into GMX because yes, the volume and fees have come down, but I think we're near a trough. And I don't really do TA, right? But I mentioned that hey, GMX like between $50 and $60 seems like a bunch of demand there, right? And that was like the all-time high that couldn't be reached in 2022. And I mean, this is like a screenshot, so I can't really do this, but if you think about like the types of corrections GMX has had, it's typically around like, I mean, the largest ones are typically like 40 to 45%, and from like $90 to $53, that's like roughly a 45% correction. The largest one was back in like early 2022, when Luna and 3AC was collapsing. I mean, GMX saw like a 67% correction, but also like was when I made like my GMX video right back in June of last year, and like that was like the peak bottom, right? And I think there's a reasonable chance that we're in this bottoming process, and in this, I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't really do TI, but TA, but if you look at the relative strength index RSI. Whenever GMX goes to like the 30 level, it's generally been a decent buy. It's only happened like twice before, back in June, right? Peak bottom back in November where it like wicked, and then we actually saw like the lowest RSI reading, which was like 27 or something, and that's kind of when I bought more. All right, I keep buying, but hey, on every dump I say, okay, like it's going to be harder to go lower than this, and it still drops. Like Warren, right? He's been in the markets for many decades. Like he knows this better than anybody. So I have to think about his wisdom sometimes more than mine. But I still feel comfortable because hey, if you average down it repeatedly, eventually you'll make money. I think Warren's kind of contradicting himself here with these two quotes. But hey, like we meme, right? We continue to meme. So next topic I want to go over is like buying Pikachu. If you're not aware, like look at my damn name. I'm Japanese, and I used to play Pokemon when I was like very little. And when Pikachu dropped its token, I was like, okay, like I have to buy, right? It's on the OPD like Optimism layer 2. Okay, like so. There was a token generation event. I did not participate, but I think I got in around 42 cents. And this is something. So this is like a less liquid token, but I intend on holding this for multiple months. So I feel fine talking about it, right? So I actually have a pretty high price target for this. So my price target for PIKA is $26. I got this by taking the age of Pikachu and then adding a dollar sign to it. Like if you think about it, it's like I'm 27 and Pikachu is 26, which is kind of crazy, right? I mean, this is like the reality check sometimes. It's like, oh, like wow, like I'm really old. Something so cute can also be so old. But. Okay, like in all seriousness, like that's not really the case. It's not the Pikachu token. It's for PIKA protocol. It's similar to like the Gains. Yeah, it's basically like a Gains fork. I mean, not really a fork, but it's like a clone similar to Gains on Optimism. They've been around for 2 years, and no VCs, no token. They haven't had a token, but they still like $1 billion in volume for their V3. I think like $1.5 billion in volume cumulative. And I'll share this notes in the description below. But I personally don't want to spend too much time on this because it's like very low cap, and there's it's like a micro cap. But metrics have been good even without having a token. The builders are relatively well respected. Their Discord is hacked, so don't go to the Discord, or like don't click links in the Discord. And like I mentioned, right, like maybe we're seeing like perp DEX fatigue, and that might dilute the TVL and like the buy pressure for these DEX tokens. Just like be aware of like the bear case for these perp DEX tokens. And yeah, like if you like it, check it out. Link will be in the description below. Back to this. So let's talk about my shorting thing. So I've done this before. I kind of call this like the farmer's hedge, or like farmer Taiki's hedge, like whatever. And it utilizes Aave and also GLP. And the idea is you can put something as collateral, borrow AVAX, and then buy GLP with it. GLP is yield bearing asset. It's like roughly 50% stablecoins. So effectively, right, like you borrow AVAX, and then you buy GLP, and it's like half stablecoins. So if the markets go lower, then the value of GLP should be higher than the value of my debt. So if we do see a correction, then I should be able to profit by take whatever the delta is. And the added bonus is that I have a bunch of escrowed GMX that I get to vest. So you can do this with any LP token, right? For Mux LP, tricrypto, like whatever. You can even borrow something, sell it into cash, and then put it into like a stablecoin vault. That's like the ultimate hedge, right? Or like that's like what people think about like when they think about shorting. But this is like a soft hedge, right? It's like a farmer's hedge. It pays a yield. I get to like vest GMX tokens. And if you look at the AVAX ETH ratio, it doesn't really inspire that much confidence. This isn't like I'm not saying that it's going to be down only, right? It's going to have ups and downs, but I don't really expect all-time highs in this ratio. So it's just gotta let things play out. Just long either. Basically, it's like long either, long GMX, like kind of short like AVAX, and everything pays a yield. So like it's all like fine and dandy. I feel like. I don't know, maybe this is exciting, but like I feel like sometimes like investing is supposed to be boring, and there's also like this argument around like, hey, if you're gonna buy altcoins, like why not buy the smaller ones? But we start to see like this divergence in TradFi, and I mean this is like mostly due to AI, but I also think like there's this element where when the macro conditions are uncertain, people want to buy assets that are perceived lower risk, and those lower risk type of assets might actually command a higher premium because of like the lendiness, the safetyness, like the comfortness aspect of it. So like maybe like GMX and Lido outperforms like the smaller perp DEXes or smaller liquid staking derivative tokens. like generally, like I mean, I've been saying this, like, I mean, yeah, I said this after FTX, right? It's like just view tricrypto GOP as cash or savings positions outperform cash. So I just like being invested in 2023. I think it's like a recovery year, and like if you look at the weekly chart of Bitcoin, it seems like it's bouncing from the 20-week and the 200-week, and typically that's been pretty good times to be like a holder of BTC. Same can be said for Ether. Like I mentioned, like I sold all my tricrypto, so I have less, or I basically don't have any direct Bitcoin exposure. I do a little bit, but like not anything direct. I like indirect exposure via GLP and like whatnot. Like I like Ether, right? I think Ether is money. I like using it as collateral. Ether has a higher LTV ratio than Bitcoin for money markets, so that's also like added utility of Ether. I also like Arbitrum into year end with the EIP 4844, prototyping starting with the Cancun upgrade. I just said like a bunch of like buzzwords, right? But basically, it's anticipated in Q4, maybe like November, December, but it's going to lower L2 transaction fees by 10 to 30x. It's also going to improve the profitability of these L2s because their fees go lower. So I mean, yeah, like the token holder like doesn't get anything, but I still think that, hey, every Ethereum network upgrade leads to some type of pump in some sector, and I think L2 tokens are it. And I like ARB over OP. But I still want exposure to the Optimism ecosystem because there's Base Chain right by Coinbase that's launching, WorldCoin by Sam Altman. They raised $100 million. Like they're gonna launch. The Optimism Bedrock update's gonna happen on the 6th. I don't think it's like that big of a deal, but like who knows? Like Pikachu is like my exposure to the OP market. And I'll wrap up this video with this wise Confucius quote: "If you cannot hold through a 70% dump, then you will never receive a 1000x pump. Thank you, Confucius. I am no longer confused." And the thing with the market right now is that it's like 99% of the time, if you buy something, like it's gonna go lower, right? At some you're never gonna be like the ultimate bottom, because yeah, the ultimate bottom, because the market's choppy. There's always sellers, but that's kind of why you need conviction and the longer term time horizon, because like 99% of people in crypto that like have a lot of money, like they're not they're not traders, right? Like there's just people that bought stuff early and like just held on and like had max conviction for whatever reason, and that's kind of like the person I want to be. And lastly, shout out to Debased Carbon. He's one of my favorite followers on Twitter. Like all these Confucius and Warren Buffett quotes, right? I did not make them myself. I just copy and pasted it from basically his Twitter. So props to him. I just saw these Warren Buffett memes and I was like, okay, I need to make a video where I just like put like 10 of these in a single video. So that's kind of like what I did. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys next week. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. And if you want more content, I upload 3 videos a week to my premium Discord with daily updates and whatnot. So if you want to check that out, please check out the link in the description below as well. I should be able to accept crypto payments next week or this week. So I'll talk about that if we get there. Yeah, so right now, like in the past, I can only accept card payments, but like I should be able to accept crypto relatively soon. So hopefully, that appeals to more people, right? But see you guys later. Bye bye.